Congressman, I'm wondering what your reaction to this news is, the Trump Justice Department launching an investigation into E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah, well, first of all, I agree with your previous guest's legal analysis. I guess I'd be more outraged by it. This is an unbelievable abuse of power and a continuation of an abuse of power by this president. He is using our government. Keep in mind, the Justice Department is not Donald Trump's. It belongs to the people of this country. He is using the Justice Department to persecute people he doesn't like. It is unbelievable. I mean, not even from sort of a political standpoint, he's got something to gain from it. This is just pure vengeance being used by the Justice Department, and it undermines the credibility of the Justice Department, and it really undermines our representative democracy. I mean, if this was an isolated case, it would be horrific. But as you know, it's not an isolated case. I mean, there's a dozen plus people who have suffered this way under Donald Trump, and I wish more people would speak out forcefully against it.
The acting Attorney General Todd Blanche has clearly pushed to speed up, doing the president's bidding. We mentioned that he's been recused from this investigation because he worked as one of the president's personal attorneys on the Carroll appeals. What overall message do you think they are trying to send, the Justice Department, to the president's political personal enemies? I mean, do you think this is about sending a message?
Don't cross the president, basically, and don't cross the president in any way. I mean, you've got Letitia James Comey, a long list of people who have been subject to this. They are trying to send a message. Donald Trump runs this country. The Constitution and the laws don't matter, and he will use his power to come after you. Definitely trying to intimidate people, but also I think it's just petty vengeance. I mean, he's just going to go after anyone who has ever crossed him.
I mean, it is sort of remarkable if this is weaponization of the Department of Justice to do this at a time when when the president is trying to set up, what certainly Democrats have called a slush fund of nearly $1.8 billion to reward people who they claim were victims of weaponization by the Department of Justice.
Well, and see, that's where this whole thing starts. And I want people to understand this because I know what I would refer to as respectable Republicans and conservatives who say, well, okay, but this is what the Biden administration and everybody else has done. No, it is not. It is not even close to that. And look, Donald Trump did things that were clearly questionable, okay? We saw what happened on January 6th. He had classified documents spread all over his bathroom down in Mar-a-Lago, okay? Investigating somebody who legitimately there is evidence of them having committed a crime is entirely different than picking out the people you don't like and then pouring through every document every deposition, everything they've ever said under oath and saying, oh, I could get them for lying. I mean, this is specifically targeted. What was going after Trump was stuff that was out there. We didn't go looking for that. It happened. So what Trump is doing here is unprecedented in the history of this country and unprecedented in its damage to our constitutional republic.
Are you surprised at that he has been able to find so many people to do his bidding? I mean, in the Department of Justice, I mean, he's brought them in, obviously, but are you surprised at that at all?
What I am surprised at is the complete unwillingness of the Republican Party and Republicans in Congress to say enough. This is fundamentally wrong. That Trump as president is able to use his power to bring people in to do his bidding, that's not surprising, nor is it surprising that he's willing to do so. I mean, he said it during the course of the campaign. Look, say what you want about Kamala Harris as a candidate, but when she said, elect me, I'll work on your problems. Elect Trump, he'll get up every morning trying to figure out how to take vengeance on the people he doesn't like. That's exactly what he said he was going to do and exactly what he's doing. The shocking thing is the number of what I, again, would consider to be respectable conservatives, Republicans, who are just willing to go, well, no, it's fine. It's fine because it's been done before. No, it hasn't been done before. I mean, apples and oranges doesn't even begin to describe it. I guess apples and watermelons, I don't know. I'm at a loss for the proper analogy here. But no, this has not been done before. And it is the Republicans in Congress who are letting him do it that I think is the most shocking and appalling aspect of it.
The Breaking news right now, exclusive news CNN reporting that the Department of Justice has launched a criminal investigation of E. Jean Carroll, the woman who sued the president twice and won both times. The investigation is focused on whether Carroll committed perjury in testimony tied to her two civil lawsuits against the president. One alleging he sexually abused Carroll in a New York department store in the mid-1990s and later defamed her, and then a second lawsuit for defamation for defaming her when in 2019 he repeatedly denied doing anything wrong, said she wasn't his type, and claimed she made it up to boost sales of a book she wrote. Joining us now, Norm Eisen, founder of Democracy Defenders Action, as we'll discuss momentarily. He's also pursuing legal action over the president's settlement with the IRS and the $1.8 billion weaponization fund that sprang from it. Also with us, CNN senior political commentator David Urban. So, Norm, first off, what's your reaction to the DOJ launching this criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll?
Anderson, it's so outrageous. Every American should be appalled at this pattern of Donald Trump utilizing the most fearsome power of our president, the investigation and possible prosecution of individuals who he perceives to be his adversaries. First, it was Tish James. That case was thrown out. Then Jim Comey. That case was thrown out. He's going after Comey again. That case is going to meet the same fate. This is garbage, and it is alarming because it is a classic sign of authoritarians. Dictators would blush at Donald Trump's abuse of his criminal powers, and it's not American.
David, do you think an investigation like this is what the DOJ should be focused on?
You know, Anderson, I think that they've got a lot of things to focus on, but I would just ask Norm, I'm not sure what the statute of limitations is on perjury, but did she perjure herself or not, Norm, in this case? It seems to me she clearly perjured herself. You can ask your colleague who solicited her. I think your colleague at George Conway, who you're associated with now, solicited Ms. Carroll to bring the suit and then helped set her up with Reid Hoffman. When she was being deposed, she denied that she was that she knew that she was, or she didn't deny. She denied having any funding for it, and then later admitted she was getting third-party funding for it. So I'm not quite sure what's so outrageous about, you know, someone who perjures himself in a very serious proceeding now being looked at by DOJ for criminal prosecution. But what do you mean? Come on, Norm, explain
David,
it to me. Why is that? Why is it wrong?
This pattern of Donald Trump going after his adversaries, where you already have
You're not answering
You're
not answering the question, Norm. You're not answering the question, Norm.
Let me answer it. Let me answer it.
Okay.
This pattern, he tried it with Jim Comey, thrown out. He tried it with Tish James, thrown out, not once, but repeatedly. The same thing will happen here if you pick over people's testimony. You can always find some issue. We don't even know what this is. It's
Norm,
so
it's
picky.
binary.
Let me finish,
David.
Let me finish. Let me finish, please. You asked me a question.
Okay.
I have
It's
been
a yes or no
practicing
question,
criminal law. I have been, well, you don't set that prerogative, my friend. I have
Let's
been
not talk over, because with
criminal
the
law.
feedback, it's very difficult. So let's just let him answer.
I have been practicing
Norm.
criminal law for 35 years. I have been practicing criminal law for 35 years. We have never seen a president engage in this kind of pattern.
Tonight, there is new reporting that Donald Trump's Department of Justice is targeting E. Jean Carroll, the former magazine columnist Trump was found liable for sexually abusing in 1996. That's in front of a civil jury. Citing multiple sources familiar with the matter, CNN reports the DOJ has launched a criminal investigation into whether Carroll committed perjury in a 2022 deposition when she said she received no outside funding for her civil lawsuit against Trump for sexual abuse. The legal team around Carroll later disclosed that billionaire Democratic donor Reid Hoffman paid some of her legal fees. Of course, we don't know when that happened and when she answered that question. I should note, MS Now has not independently confirmed this reporting. CNN says Carroll declined to comment on the story. A spokesperson for the Justice Department did give CNN this statement, quote, "We can confirm that no U.S. Attorney's Office has declined to investigate any case relating to the subject matter of CNN's inquiry." No U.S. Attorney's Office has declined to investigate. We will not comment beyond that. Take that for what it's worth. MS Now senior legal reporter Lisa Rubin joins me now. Lisa, this reporting emanated from CNN, so we're sort of operating off the report they have. What can you piece together so far?
Well, Chris, this is an issue that actually percolated at E. Jean Carroll's first of the 2 trials that I attended. And we do know when she gave that deposition, and we also know, maybe more importantly, when her lawyer, Roberta Kaplan, then disabused Trump's then lawyer, Joe Tacopina and Alina Habba, of their belief that E. Jean Carroll had lied in her October 2022 deposition. I'm going to read to you from a letter that was sent to Mr. Tacopina's firm by Robbie Kaplan in April of 2023 on the eve of that first trial. And I think based on what she says in this letter, the notion that there's a criminal investigation into E. Jean Carroll is sort of gobsmacking. She writes, "It appears that you may be operating on a misunderstanding of the facts. As Ms. Carroll testified at her deposition, she had and continues to have a contingency fee arrangement with her counsel." And let me just pause there for our viewers. That means that E. Jean Carroll was not paying her lawyers as the case went along, but that the lawyers were themselves bearing the fees, and that if there was going to be a recovery, then they would get some percentage of that. Robbie Kaplan continues, "In September of 2020, well after Ms. Carroll filed her state court complaint in November 2019, that's the first lawsuit that E. Jean Carroll filed that ended up going to federal court because..."
To be clear, this is vile from Donald Trump. Vile stuff. We know what he did to Carroll. We know. A civil court adjudicated it, right? They were very clear. A civil court adjudicated that. A jury of his peers found that he did unspeakable things and made him pay a pretty penny. And now, because of that, because she was an outspoken critic of his and bravely took a stand to hold him accountable, not the ultimate accountability needed, like it was in criminal court, but a level of accountability men like Donald Trump far too rarely face. Now he's taking revenge on her. And this one, it strikes me as so like, look, I'm not defending what happened to James Comey. What's happening to Comey is he tries to go after Comey, and he's tried to go after Letitia James and other people. But those people are, one, he's going after them for political reasons, and I'm not trying to defend it. And those are like, public figures, heads of the FBI, attorneys general. Jean Carroll was a writer. I think she's retired now, but she's going after her as an individual woman. She doesn't represent a powerful organization or government. It's such a perversion of power. But here's the thing. She's going to get her revenge just by being the strong, badass woman that she is. Because here's the sad reality. And I'm not saying it should be like this, but I'm betting most people have sort of forgotten about Carroll. I've forgotten about Jean Carroll. Not on purpose. It's just her trial with Trump happened in 2023, 2024. Then the election happened. He won again. And we've been living with this world of Trump since. There's been talks about the files, which are very different from this specific thing. That they don't really overlap, right? And so his indiscretions there have kind of disappeared. Him bringing this criminal probe, and let's be clear, this is being driven by Trump. That's my opinion, at least. Has brought the story back to light. I see people talking about what he did to Carroll who haven't mentioned it all since the trial. It backfired, Donald.